And here we are, and this is a continuation of yesterday. This is Thursday, so what I'm working on now is, as I said earlier, this particular Fender model is a little different than the 79, so the bumper placement is different. So I located the bumper and I used these Fender nuts, and I've also reinforced this section here. So I got double walled this, so it's very, very strong now. And this should do it. So this is where got some good welds, and this is where the bolt holes are going to be, and hopefully everything will work out good. So I'm just going to clean it up a little bit right now, and we're going to do another test fit. Let's see what happens. And here we are with the Fender. I am working the Fender. I did make one little mistake, which I'm going to have to fix, which is up there. But here's what we're working with. Because the Fender is an integral structure, there's so many contact points. All the areas that have to be spot welded into place. It is giving me a bit of a heartache trying to mount it. So what I did was using strap type come along here and helping to pull the Fender in, and another come along over here trying to get this bottom in. I got to get that bolt in on the bottom. But it was out a lot further, and now it's getting very, very close to being in where I need it. So that's where we're at right now, and now it's time to get back to the Volkswagen Fender installation, and I'm just going to give an update on this. I know I have been busy. This is a patch transition between the old part of the car and the new, and this gets covered by molding, so it's not really a big deal. But this is where we're at. I made a stepped patch piece to go up underneath there and then tie in with my flanging tool, and the Fender's been welded in, as you can tell, tied in the front and the bottom, and lightly ground. It needs to be wire wheeled off and then sealed, and we'll get to that soon. So it looks pretty good. I did the inside. I don't know if you can see that. I'll get some more shots of it, and tacked it all also from the inside and beefed it up. So it's attached, it's firm as hell. So I got to work on the transition up at the top, and see, it gets covered by this piece of molding here. So not an issue. And you don't even see what I'm doing, but we still want to make it good. So I got the dog leg in, and like I said, I flanged it and then slid it underneath and then tied it into the top of the Fender and then over to here. So there's no burn throughs, but it's this transition here I got to work on next. So I'm going to finish grinding this. I should have gave you a shot of what I made to stick in there, and but I didn't. So this is all tied in. I got to get a fresh grinding disc and get in there and grind that, and look to see if I want to add any more welds. It's welded all the way through. I might want to add a couple of more, but I have to get a good grinding disc on it, sharp and square and new, so I can get in tight without hitting the Fender in areas that I don't want to hit it. So there's still a little bit more tweaking to do on that, but it's very, very close, and it's certainly mounted. The Fender's bolted and welded, and it's bolted to the H-frame down below. It's welded up top, and that's how I located it, by using the H-frame and the back pinch area where the door is. So it looks really good, and I'm going to pull out and I'm going to do a little bit more grinding, and that's really annoying, so I'm not going to record that. And we'll see what that looks like when I get it ground up and finish welded, and it'll get bondoed and body work later. So I'll be back to work, and don't forget to hit the like button and share, and so I can keep doing this. Alright, we're back here with whose Volkswagen is this, and here we are. I don't have a lot of lights set up right now. I'm going to set them up in a minute, but this is where we're at. This is the driver's Fender, and I just did a little bit of seal coating on that. I got a primer on it, and Bondo is soon, but I'm going to do a quick coat of black, one coat of black, just to seal the primer up, so I don't have to worry about it getting contaminated, because primer is porous. But she looks real good. It's on there, and I've got that sort of blacked out and with some primer on it, and we cleaned up this side, tried to hide the sins, but she's good to go. And I also primed the underneath pieces and finish prime that a little bit more, so that's ready for black. And all that's in there now. This is all new work, you know. So now the car is able to support itself, and it's going to be strong, and it's going to be able to go down the road no problem. So now I'm going to put a little black on, and then it's a little bit of body work. So I have a chance to let some of the Bondo dry. I'm going to get this area here and a little bit over here, and I'm going to work a little magic on the front cap, the nose piece, because it needs it. And while that's drying, the Bondo and primers on stages on that are drying, then we're going to go to the last bit of metal work, serious metal work, which is this floor. And we'll get the floor in, and then I'll seal that. And that floor's got to be tied in the front. That's the passenger side, needs to be tied in the front, and then bolted back up. So it's just a repair now at this point. A much simpler repair. So we're going to get to that very soon. So back to work, and we'll see what it looks like with a coat of black on it. Alright, we're here with the Volkswagen again. Whose Volkswagen is this? And here we are. We've got the fender on. Now I'm going to do a little bit of Bondo work right now, but just to show you an update, this is all in black. I just put a little bit of undercoating on. I got to get some more, but it looks very good. It's on there. It's solid, and it's complete. We did the inside. It all looks very, very nice. That is done, and inside there is done. Maybe a little touch up, you know, after I put it all together. We cleaned up this side, so rescued this side a little bit. I don't have a lot of lights on, but it looks good. So that's the next step in this. And I'm going to come here now, and we're going to do a little dent removal and a little sanding. And I'm going to put some Bondo on that, and I'll show you guys that. And there's a little Bondo there, and a little Bondo here. And a little tip and trick, for those that just want to do something quick and want to throw it out, here's a little tip. Cardboard is cheap if you got a lot of it around, and packing tape. If you do any shipping or you have boxes and you like to have packing tape around in any way, shape, or form, take a piece of cardboard, cut it to size that you want for the Bondo you're going to be working on, and put packing tape on it. Why? Because when you go to mix your Bondo and you add your hardener, that hardener can absorb into the cardboard, and you will not get a good mix, and you'll be scratching your head wondering what's wrong with this Bondo, what did I do? So if you don't want to buy a plastic board or dedicated sheets, this is a good way to go about it. It's cheap, and when you're done you can throw it out and use another one. So that's my little tip, and I'm going to get back to work, and we're signing off. And don't forget to subscribe and click the like button and tell your friends, and donate if you can. So let's keep going with these projects, and the more you guys do your likes and shares, the more I can do this stuff, and I'll be back. Alright, now we're back to the next step here. We put on some Bondo, as you see, and I sanded it down with some 40 grit and cleaned the area. And in here I used a couple of different tools. I noticed the paint was just chipping off. You know, you get Bondo in there and everything, so I went to go kind of trim the Bondo down, and paint was just flying off because this area was kind of beat up. So I said, alright, let me use a cookie and a file and a few other things and just clean those ribs out really good so that I don't have any issues in the future as I continue moving forward with paint chipping off and it's looking horrible. It was just probably a lot of overspray and everything on here. So we just have one more coat, I believe, to put on. It should be maybe one more coat. And I went from 40 grit on the flat board. Now I'm going to be into 80. And here's just a couple of tools that I used again. This was in the early part of the drying period, first pass, if you want to get off the snots. Excellent old tool to use. 40 grit on a long board by hand for this. A couple other little things, you know, the cookie on a die grinder, this die grinder over here with the speed controller, and cookies like that. Also a burr, and I worked this area here. So now that's ready for Bondo, and I put a little Bondo on this. So this is almost done. That seam is just, this is actually a piece that goes here, so I'm not going to get too crazy with this until I get towards the finished part. This will get DA'd and primed later. Well, it'll probably be tomorrow or Monday. So we're really close to putting primer on this, so I'm going to put some more Bondo on, and I'm going to go to 80 grit and see how we make out. And if I'm in 80 grit, I could put a nice high build primer on and get to maybe 220 or something like that before I paint it. So it's looking really good. With that cleaned up, straightened out, another pass of Bondo on that, I think we'll be golden. So I'm going to get to some, just wipe this down, I'm going to get to some Bondo work now. We'll be back with whose Volkswagen is this anyway? Okay, we're back with the VW in the next phase, and this has got the high performance contour body filler from Eastwood. Not plugging anybody, but it's a good product, very dense. And there's another product from Evercoat, which I put in a few areas down here, over here. Very, very dense spot putty. Over here, we did this area here, and I'm ready to clean it off. I'm going to blow it off and clean it off, and then I'm going to put these products on. Epoxy Primer, gray primer, and this is to seal it. Okay, that's going to seal this down tight, lock it down tight. And then it'll get a quick sanding with maybe 1 something. I don't know, I'm at 80 now. Started with 40, went to 80, and that's where I'm at. And go something like the next stage up. It depends on what I have in stock. 1 something, 2 something. And then clean that off, and then I'm going to shoot a high build, which I don't have that out yet. I'm going to shoot a high build on it, and I'll finish sanding it with the high build. But really nice stuff. Looks very good. Pretty happy. It's very straight. And so let me blow this off and get to work. Alright, back to the Volkswagen again. I'll just make a timestamp here. This is the afternoon, Thursday. And it's like the 15th or something. Let's see. Anyway, I'll get a timestamp on that again. So this is the primer that is epoxy. It's been sanded and scuffed up and scotch-brighted and cleaned off, and it's ready for top coat primer, which is the Evercoat Feather Fill. And this is a high build. And I just started spraying it on here in the front. So, very smooth, just a few little blemishes that came up from the wet sanding on the gray. Now, the gray is not really a primer that you sand in order to remove blemishes or fill cracks. It's a sealer. So now the black is going on, which is high build. So I'm going to get to that, and I'm going to put this high build primer on, let it dry up, and I'm going to get as much on today as I can, and then we're going to let it sit overnight because it's getting a little later and I got a late start. But I want it to harden. It's a little rainy out, not the best day for it, but these products work fine. So let's get back to it, and let's see. Let's take a walk over to the old computer setup. I have to move this. Yeah, I'm getting it all full of paint. My high-end computer. And yeah, today's the 17th. Alright, let's get back to it and keep going. We'll be back in a bit.